All right, I think it's time for a PlayStation showcase to happen. And no, I'm not doing like a rumor mill thing where there's a rumor that there's a secret showcase or something. This is based on the number of games that they have announced are coming this year and basically coming next year, and the amount of time that has passed since the last PlayStation showcase. And it did put this on my radar and my mind because there are people sort of spreading that rumor and saying, hey, a showcase is coming. Jeff Grubb did say they were sort of debating between a showcase and a state of play, and now it's gone dead quiet. And usually if that happens, it means something is going to take place. And we do know that they like to do something typically right at the end of May before the beginning of June hits, where all of the Summer Game Fest stuff starts. So what really makes me think that they should do one is everything this year as well as everything they've already announced. The simple answer is there's just too many games and too much time has passed. So let's just quickly go through the games that we do know about, and let's just start with this year. First, Lost Soul Aside. Now, this was recently delayed to August 29th. It's one of the first big efforts from the China Hero project, and I think this game looks really solid. It's sort of a blend of Final Fantasy and very strange environments that are reminiscent of like the game Control or Destiny, and it has combat that really combines sort of large arena-style fights and quick movement and frenetic action. And this is one of the big three games that they could show off and talk about at a showcase. If you're really trying to cement yourself in the Chinese market, well, a showcase would be a good time to show off this game since it's sort of one of the big first efforts in them doing this. Now, this does hit PC and PlayStation day and date. It's a publishing effort in that market where they don't have a good footprint, and this is a developer that obviously would want their game to hit PC, but this is the time to do it, right? Don't just do a state of play where it gets like a trailer, do a showcase. The other game that we obviously have to talk about is Death Stranding 2. After the recent Death Stranding 2 previews where folks got to play for like 30 hours, it's clear this is a Game of the Year contender. This is probably the only game with even a prayer of a chance to compete with Expedition 33 for the Game of the Year title in 2025. And having this exclusive deal with Kojima, working with him again to publish his sequel, not flexing this muscle in a showcase just seems like a huge missed opportunity. And the game is coming on June 26th. That's basically a month after the showcase would be taking place. So you'd be able to talk about this highly anticipated Kojima game that some are saying is like his next Metal Gear moment. That just seems like a no-brainer to me to use that. And speaking of no-brainers, the other title this year, Ghost of Yotei. Now, obviously, I'm a little biased, but this game could really stand very tall this year as a triumphant sequel to an already beloved game that was nominated for Game of the Year in Tsushima. And we have seen very little. The latest trailer did a great job sort of setting up the story after the announcement trailer set up sort of the tone and the setting for the game. And I have to say, while I could see them doing a state of play for this game later in this year, I would really like to see this game get the Spider-Man 2 treatment. You remember 2 years ago when they finally did a PlayStation showcase, it ended with a 20-minute segment for Spider-Man 2. I think Yotei has earned that spot. Sucker Punch hit well above their weight class with Tsushima, and from what I've seen so far, Yotei will be no different. This again feels like an obvious reason to do a showcase. You have a very strong 2025, and it all is taking place after the showcase would happen. Just these three games alone, I think, is grounds to do a really, really good showcase because they also like to flex their third-party relationships, and that's great. But this is all first-party publishing efforts from PlayStation. And that's not all. That's not the only thing I'm thinking about. Let's consider all of the other games that PlayStation has already announced that they could update on and provide release windows for, since I think these are all landing in 2026. First up, Intergalactic. Now, this is unlikely to land this year. Some people think that it could. I don't think so. It was announced already, pretty much only cinematics. And I think this game is headed to 2026, and having a showcase that could basically serve as your halfway mark through the PlayStation 5 gen, right? We're basically halfway through. We're entering that second stage. You could say, hey, here's the three games coming out in 2025, and then here's everything that's coming next, whether you put 2026 or not. But we know there's a couple coming in 2026, like Staros. This was a big surprise at the State of Play earlier this year. When folks like me expected Death Stranding or Yote to be the focus, we got the huge shock of Sorrows. From Housemarque, this is the spiritual sequel to one of my all-time favorite games, Returnal. And we're supposed to be getting a deep dive into gameplay sometime this year. Well, a great time to remind everybody about this game with a second trailer, and you really want to establish that 2026 release window, well, you would do it in a showcase. Listen, we're in the middle of the gen. We've got some really big things planned for the second half, and we're starting in 2025, and we've got things beyond that. Which means it's probably time for the other title that we haven't seen much of, which is Wolverine. While some have speculated that Insomniac, got slowed down because of the data breach that happened, this thing feels slated for 2026. I can't see them waiting another year beyond that. Insomniac works at a pretty good cadence, and pushing this even further out would just seem very, very strange given the time that has passed since it was announced. Now, there is the chance that there's a spin-off Venom game for like $40. It could sort of serve as like a Miles Morales gap feel. I think that's why they decided to not do the DLC for Spider-Man 2. It's like, well, no, let's kind of feel it out and do something to fill in the gap while we have another big title that is cooking. And that could land later this year as a surprise. I don't know how strong the chances are for that, but we do know for certain that Wolverine is coming, and 2026 feels like the logical landing time. And another game that has already said it is landing in 2026 is Phantom Blade Zero, a game with combat that honestly looks too good to be true. I can't wait to see this thing in action and actually get to play it. Apparently, devs that build differently for games like this, they just build a vertical slice and they make it as awesome as possible. So you might look at this gameplay and think, how is this thing not ready to go? It is slated for 2026, even if the gameplay looks very like, hey, this is close to launch. So 2026 could easily be the fullest PlayStation first-party year yet, with Intergalactic, Sorrows, Wolverine, and Phantom Blade Zero. And if PlayStation can avoid the current hardware price hike that Xbox had to do, a showcase that cements how strong this year and 2026 will be, I think that's compelling. And none of this even considers the role that GTA 6 will play, because it's coming now in May of 2026. Multiple sources have indicated that GTA 6 marketing will have some kind of a deal with PlayStation, and all that was supposed to start in May. Well, that ended up being partly true. The GTA 6 trailer 2 did land in May. PlayStation is currently rumored to be involved. They did get to put the trailer on their channel first, a couple hours before Xbox. I don't know if that signifies a marketing deal, but maybe it does. Listen, the point is, even without some kind of a marketing deal for GTA 6, you've got Lost Soul Aside, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yote, Intergalactic, Sorrows, Phantom Blade Zero, and Wolverine. That's a showcase-worthy lineup to really cement the second half of the PlayStation 5 gen as a strong future to look forward to. But those are just my thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts below. Do you think they're doing a showcase? What games would be there? Let me know below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, remember to hit like, share, and subscribe so I can see you in the next video.